Back to Ferocious Education. Today I'm going to be talking about HTBX. You'll find my previous video in the description below if you'd like to watch one here. Make sure to drop a like to this video to help the channel grow, subscribe, and leave your notifications on to get the latest out of these videos. I'm going to go through technical analysis, I'm going to go through news, I'm going to go through how I think the stock will play in details, and what I would do if I held a position in the stock or if I'm considering holding a position. So let's jump right into it. You get to see an MACD here that has been negative for quite a bit. It seemed like it might have actually bottomed out on the 12th of August, but then that kind of prediction did reverse back on the 21st on Friday, uh, and again on the 20th, where the MACD continued to be negative. And as we get to see at this point, it doesn't seem that it has bottomed out at any given location. On the ADX, it's chosen around 2806. Doesn't give any significance to it. We need to look into the 1 hour perspective. On million%R, we get to see the stock is oversold and the momentum seems to be a little bit spiraling out of control. Now, on the moving averages, and I'm going to zoom, okay, and you get to see that it has the 10 SMA and the 30 EMA has crossed on the 19th of August. And the 30 EMA now, the red line, is above the 10 SMA. That is a bearish sign. Now, the stock did drop below the 50 SMA in purple on the 19th of August, and that clearly makes it bearish. The stock price is still above the 200 SMA, so that's technically kind of cancels one another. Although, still moving averages do look bearish overall. On the 1 hour intervals, we get to see an MACD that seems to be recovering a little bit into the extended market at a very slow rate. Now, it is approaching a trading action zone from below, which is not a good sign if it's approaching it from below. Now, the moving averages are all bearish. You get to see 200 SMA, purple line 50 SMA, red line 30 EMA, and the green line is 10 SMA. All around bearish moving averages. On the ADX, it does support a very strong negative trend. On the million%R, it seems to be oversold. Momentum here seems to be a bit sloppy, really low in terms of momentum of points of the day. So it really looks like it's having a tough time. On the moving average band, you get to see the stock hasn't traded within the moving average band ever since the 10th, but for the sake of it, the moving average band, it trades below $1.70 on the bottom and $2 on the top. Although I don't see it jumping towards the moving average band anytime soon. Now, going on towards the chart, it really looks like it was kind of pushed on. There was a lot of rally, and there's continues to bleed on and on. Now, any kind of trend line that I try to draw will not really be significant on this range. I mean, technically, it did break it just recently on the trend line, but unless I am drawing something where it's horizontal, you don't get to see that. Now, going on towards supports and resistances that are very significant. The 119 is a very significant support here. Below that, we get to see the 112, 107, 102, 0.97, and then 0.94. Going on towards resistances, $1.26, $1.36, $1.46, $1.52, $1.55. On Fibonacci retracements here, and I'm going to draw that quickly. $1.56 is where the current resistance is sitting at. Right on here, and $1.23 seems to be as well another resistance on the Fibonacci retracement confirmed here as well. Now, what we're going to do as well, I'm going to try to see Fibonacci arc if it does play anywhere through. It does not. So that has no significance at all at this level. So going on now towards companies' institutional transactions, you get to see the last transaction has been taken on the 19th by adding 6,000 shares. Now, Private Advisor Group did decrease their shares by 99%, although their average per share was 28 cents. That's a little bit bearish in that way. But BlackRock, and it was on the 14th, that was 10 days ago, has increased their position to have almost 1.7 million shares of the stock, an increase of 416,000%. So it's around 417 times more than the previous position. That shows that they are extremely bullish on. So a few days before, or almost on the same day, Morgan Stanley has decreased the entire position. Vanguard has increased it, Bank of America has, Renaissance Technologies has, and Bank of Montreal. So that's some bigger names on there we're looking at. Now, going on towards the latest news. So the latest news, for instance, would be their PR that is coming in today, the form 424B5, which suggests that there is issuing of new shares. While that is correct, although that is more of on an offering that has been sent out for quite a bit, for 100 million shares, that a lot of people have almost slept on a little or have known it, but it's something here in the background. It's continuing and ongoing by B. Riley FBR, and they're continuing on to selling those shares. Now, whether they issue the remaining of the 100 million shares in terms of some kind of direct direct offering instead of the market offering, or a public offering, that is a question that we would need to see more papers on. And it is possible as well. So there is a possible of another offering going on to public or direct offering that might bring the price down. Now, let's take a look and try to judge ourselves. How much cash did they have on the last quarter? We get to see that their last cash position has increased quite a bit. Their assets has increased almost 3 times up at 20.7 million, although their net loss is sitting somewhere around 4.4 million. They don't really need the cash unless they are really expanding and moving on to a whole other direction. Now, the other thing on this one here, well, this is the exact same thing, but they have as well a progress on the COVID-19 vaccine. And part of it, this was actually posted all the way back earlier on. The established partnership program to manufacture the COVID-19 vaccine, phase 1 human trials. Nothing significant there that we don't already know from previous kind of videos that I've kind of made recently. In terms of the stock itself, in terms of the COVID-19 vaccine update, they did have an update not long time ago about their COVID-19 vaccine. I believe it was somewhere August 13th. And I'm sharing it here on my screen as well. So Heat Biologics COVID-19 vaccine demonstrates robust T-cell driven immune response to SARS-CoV-2 in preclinical studies. That is positive news. It's been a while. It's been almost 10 days since we've heard more about that. But there has been more talks in the US about the vaccines and whatnot. So there could be as well other potential of new PRs coming in for other progresses for vaccines, whatnot. So there's definitely a lot of possible PRs that could be seen from the company. I'm not going to go through the exact details, but here is as well their website, and I'm sharing it again on my screen here, heatbio.com, and we find it in the description below if you would like to go on through it, but I've had it done already. So I'm going to go back into what I recommend for the stock here. Now, the support that I'm looking at here is a very strong one on $17, seen here and here. If it does break that, as also the moving averages and the technical analysis looks extremely bearish on this one, there's a lot of potential for PR coming in. I do want to see it staying above the $19, $17 range. If it does drop, I do see it bleeding a little bit more. Without the publishing of a PR, I wouldn't really touch this. And it would be mostly more about like try to scalp this one rather than holding it as a swing. And you get to see even when people thought it was accumulating at that region over here early on in August, it is almost 50% down from that range. And so it's a very dangerous stock to hold for a prolonged period of time. Even looking in terms of the 6 months, I mean, it was 20 cents earlier on around March. And that is insanely significant for me, as we're talking about 20 cents to 120. You're still 600% from where it was. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure you mention down in the comments. Share, subscribe, and like, and you have a wonderful